Good morning. It's Tuesday, February 28th, last day of the month, and excited to get today's council session started. And we are going to begin with a proclamation celebrating Burtonsville Elementary School PTSA. And that's going to be led by Councilmember Mink and her colleagues on the Education and Culture Committee, Councilmember Jawando and Albornoz.
Okay, great. All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. So glad to be gathered here today to recognize and celebrate the Burtonsville Elementary School PTA. They have been a fixture in East County, advocating for their students, for their teachers and staff, for their community. They are Black-led, majority Black, all dad board, which is pretty awesome. And I'm glad to be joined with my colleagues on the Education and Culture Committee, so I'm going to give them a moment to say a couple words.
Thank you, Councilmember Mink. Councilmember Will Jawando, Chair of the Education Committee, also a Black dad. It's, I think, fitting that we got you in on the last day of Black History Month. Obviously, Black History Month we celebrate all year, but it's really cool to be here with a great group that's done amazing things, which you'll hear about more in a second when we read the proclamation. But one of the things that all of my colleagues care about is educational equity and access for all students. And PTSAs are really important because they provide emotional, financial, other support to students in schools. And we know that that's not done equitably for a whole host of reasons across our 210 schools. But this group behind us here and many others have said, we're going to do it anyway. They've gone out and raised the money. They've supported their school. They've advocated passionately at this dais for improvements, and that deserves to be recognized and commended. So we all are benefiting from it, and we want to just thank you and really excited that you're here today. So turn it over to Councilmember Albornoz.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy Councilmember Mink helped organize and facilitate this important proclamation as the proud dad of 4 kids who tries to set up tables and chairs and volunteers for as many school events as I can get to. I know the importance of making sure that we are active and present to support our school community. You can draw a straight line between schools that have engaged parent communities and the success of those schools. And it's such an impressive and important way to give back to our communities. So I really want to commend these extraordinary parents for stepping forward and not just supporting their own children, but their peers and the entire Burtonsville community.
I'd like to invite a couple members of the Burtonsville Elementary School PTA to speak as well. Brandon Conway is the president.
Good morning. Good morning. We just want to thank the County Council for having us here today, as well as I want to thank my PTA board and members, as well as our participants and our chair members. This started as something that we, as fathers, were asked to do by some of our wives. And voluntold. And so we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We just knew that we wanted to do small things like add technology, organize and make sure that the handoff to the next board members would be, efficient. Well, we found ourselves in a situation where we talked to our principal, found out the needs of our school. We started to build different opportunities for our community to come out each and every month And eventually we found ourselves sitting at these tables here at the Board of Education and the County Council advocating for, various things for Burtonsville Elementary School. And so I just want to say that the journey has been lovely, and I thank you, the County Council for being great working with us. And I just want to once again thank some of our PTA members and our board for just being, strong advocates and doing the work.
Thank you, Brandon. And Henry Geringer is the treasurer of the PTA.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, councilmen, councilwomen. Definitely very much appreciate the light that you guys are shining on BES with this recognition of what we're doing. When we first started this dad board journey experiment that we were going on, we were really just trying to improve upon some of the things that were done by our previous board. But we realized very shortly after that there were some issues that were much bigger in scope and scale that we were going to need to try to address if we were going to give our children the best chance to succeed. And we realized shortly after that, as we started advocating, that we had a pretty large community that would be willing to get behind us as we pursue some of these big and needed issues. As we have continued to advocate, we've realized that the issues in East County don't end at Burtonsville. And fortunately, the hunger and appetite to advocate for issues in East County as far as education is concerned is also not limited to us. So we look forward to continuing to work with our brothers and sisters in East County to make our area one of the best to raise a child in. So we think now is the time. We have a tremendous team, and we think we have great representation. And councilmen, councilwomen, we're not going to lose your phone numbers. Thank you.
Please don't. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas the Burtonsville Elementary School Parent-Teacher Association is a group of over 220 members who proudly elected an all-dad board and has organized and advocated for students, school staff, and the wider community. And
whereas the Burtonsville BES, excuse me, I'm going to use your term, BES PTA advocates were able to help secure $150,000 for outdoor renovations. And
whereas BES BTA's president and vice president are also leaders of the Paint Branch cluster, advocating for the schools within the cluster along with BES, and whereas the BTA established beautification days for Burtonsville Elementary School, organizing the community to help keep school grounds clean and safe, and partnered with the local landscaping vendor that now provides landscaping services to BES at no cost. And
whereas BES PTA has organized the community by advocating for a new school. We're going to get that done. Pushed to solve the issue of overcrowding and helped implement a plan to address traffic safety concerns.
now therefore be it resolved that council members Kristen Mink, Will Jawando, and Gabe Albernaz, and the entire County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby celebrate the Burtonsville Elementary School PTA for its outstanding contributions to the vitality and excellence of our schools and our community.
Well, thank you very much, members of the Education and Culture Committee, and of course to the moms and dads of Burtonsville Elementary. President Conway said that they're just doing small things, but as we all know, there are no small things in our schools and in parenting, so thank you very much. Okay, colleagues, we're going to get along with general business. So we're now going to move to general business. Madam Clerk, do we have any announcements?
Yes, good morning, Council President, Council Vice President, Council members. We just have a few brief announcements before we continue. The Council is seeking applicants for a representative on the Board of Investment Trustees for employee retirement plans and the Board of Trustees for the Consolidated Retiree Health Benefits Trust. The deadline for applications is 5 p.m. Friday, March 10th, 2023. Applications can be sent via email to council.clerk@montgomerycountymd.gov. Our legislative session has two changes. First is Bill 11-23, Motor Vehicles and Traffic Control Signals, Devices, and Enforcement Action Plan. We've added co-sponsors, Councilmember Lutke, Stewart, Katz, Fanny Gonzalez, Council Vice President Friedson, and Councilmember Giwando. Additionally, Bill 12-23, Police, Traffic Stops, Limitations. We've made a correction. The public hearing is scheduled for June 13th, 23 at 1:30 p.m. That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The clerk has circulated the minutes for January 23rd, 24th, and the 31st, and also February 3rd and the 6th. Are there any changes? Not hearing any changes. Those are approved. Now we're going to move on to the nominating committee for the Montgomery College Board of Trustees. If we could have Mr. Raul Jindal and Ms. Alethea Lloyd-White join us. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning, good morning. So the composition of the nominating committee for Montgomery College consists of 2 members appointed by the county executive, 1 by the Montgomery College Alumni Association, and 2 by the county council. And so we are here to speak with you about one of those 2 appointments. And so I have a few questions, and then I'll open it up to questions from colleagues. But again, I want to thank you both for stepping up and for wanting to help support the best community college in the country. So, Mr. Jindal, we'll start with you. In your background, what qualifies you to serve as a member of the nominating committee for the Montgomery College Board of Trustees?
Thank you for inviting me. I've been an educator. I'm a professor of surgery and global health at the Uniformed Services University. I'm also a commissioner for the Human Rights Commission, Montgomery County, for last 8 years, and before that I was on the Governor's Commission for Service and Volunteerism, and I'm very involved with the civic affairs, so I see this as a progression. I just completed my Fulbright scholarship to India for 4 months. This was my second Fulbright scholarship, in which we are looking at teaching and increasing ties between US and India and so on. So I believe, and I've been in the county for about 15 years. My wife is an internist in the county, live in Silver Springs, so I feel this is a progression of my work with the civic affairs.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lloyd-White?
Sure. Thank you for having me here today. So I've had the privilege of serving on the nominating committee for the past 2 years. It's been a personally fulfilling experience, just on a personal note. But in terms of my background and experience that qualifies me for this position, I serve on several boards and committees throughout the county, including on the board of the Jewish Social Service Agency, the board of Montgomery Women, and I serve as a member of the Education Enrichment Committee of the City of Gaithersburg. In my professional capacity, I'm a program manager at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Center of International Private Enterprise, where I collaborate with global stakeholders to advance social and economic equality, through investments in sound education, strengthening institutions. So I believe that this collective experience allows me to take my skills that I've gained, in these roles, and serve as a sound member of the nominating committee.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with you, Ms. Lloyd-White. Why do you want to be a member or continue your membership on the nominating committee?
Sure. Well, I come from a background of educators and public servants that, and they've really instilled the value of education in me throughout my life, both through personal and professional collaboration with the college. I've really come to know and value the role that the college plays in our community and how rooted, the college is in our community. And, serving as a member of the nominating committee will really allow me to develop a cohort of potential candidates that will help advance the mission and vision and goals of the college.
Thank you. Mr. Jindal. Hey, turn your mic, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel I can make a difference as if I'm able to select the best candidate. I've been an educator for about 40 years, a Fulbright scholar. I'm very active with the civic affairs, with the human rights, with the diversity. And as a physician, I feel I can bring a different perspective to the candidates rather than the same cohort. So I bring a new perspective, including my background coming from India, being in the US for now 40 years. So I have a global perspective. And as I was just saying, I just returned from India after 4 months as a Fulbright scholar. So it's diversity of experience in education as well as in global affairs. And I've been involved with the civic affairs, being on the Human Rights Commission and before that on the Governor's Commission for Service and Volunteerism.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Jindal. Please tell us about a time you've helped to achieve consensus among a group or individuals with differing points of view.
So, I'm in charge of global health, and I run a number of humanitarian missions to Guyana, Suriname, Botswana, and to India, in which we take a group of physicians, nurses, and educators, usually about 10 or 15 from the US, different parts of the country, to those countries, and then we work there and help them set up their programs. So at any point there are a number of conflicts between our group as well as going to another country and with a different culture, different language. So you end up with a number of conflicts which I as a team leader have to resolve. And usually it's by give and take and consensus, because you go from the States to Guyana, a country which is completely different, which is low and middle income. We spend a week there and then we build up their program. So I've done about 28 missions to Guyana and Suriname, and similar to Botswana, and about 40 to India. So there are not just one conflict, there are multiple cultural conflicts with the way you do surgery or teaching and so on. So I have to kind of bring a consensus and take it forwards. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been successful For my work, I was awarded the Ellis Island Medal of Honor and the Outstanding American by Choice, and last year the Carnegie American of the Year, because of this consensus building and leading teams internationally. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lloyd-White?
Sure. In my role at the Center for International Private Enterprise, I consistently have to help our teams launch new products and initiatives in the emerging economies that we work in. So one specific example that I can give you in terms of building consensus amongst groups of individuals with differing opinions is we were developing a digital literacy product, and we wanted to pilot this product, but we had to decide which country we would launch this pilot. And there were different opinions amongst the group, mostly people vying for the countries that they represented in their work. But in terms of coming to a fair decision-making process, I led just a rapid process of consensus building amongst the group, where we all decided what the ultimate criteria would be, developing a rubric per se. What the ultimate criteria would be in terms of deciding where we would launch this initiative. So some of the main, criteria was centered on, in terms of what would be the most viable location in terms of launching this product, around connectivity, around the needs of the local economies. So, we went through the process in terms of ranking, the specific countries, and we were ultimately able to come to a decision that was mostly free of bias, and really took into consideration the local needs of the individuals in the country where we were looking to launch this product.
Thank you. Next question is the Racial Equity and Social Justice Bill that became effective on March 20th of 2020, and on June 16th, 2020, the Council passed a resolution declaring racism a public health. How would you consider racial equity and social justice issues as you identify candidates for the Board of Trustees? And we'll start with you, Ms. Lloyd-White.
Thank you for that question. I think it's been a very important question to consider. Well, the bill primarily aims to dismantle structural racism and address the needs and disparities of communities of color and low-income communities. And in order to advance that work, you really need to do a deep dive and assessment of policies, practices, and personal contributions of individuals within institutions. In an effort to walk the talk, while on the nominating committee, I led a series of working sessions where we really evaluated our own recruitment process, and we reworked it in a way that we were able to expand our reach in terms of potential candidates and diversify our pool of applicants. Within those working sessions, we also had many learning sessions with the college where we were able to gain a deeper understanding of the college's equity and inclusion roadmap so we can align our efforts with the goals of the college through our processes. So if I'm able to continue serving on the nominating committee, I will, proactively seek out opportunities to continue to do this type of work to make sure that we are in alignment with, the equity and inclusion goals, both of the college and of the council.
Thank you. Mr. Jindal?
I have experience with selecting candidates who have diverse backgrounds, including equity, diversity, and inclusion. For example, I sit on committees selecting medical students, residents, other faculty members. Also, on the Human Rights Commission, we select new members for the commission. What I look at is their background, their involvement in the community in terms of social justice, because social justice is a broad umbrella under which race, equality, diversity would fall in. So sometimes you have to see the theoretical aspect is whether the candidate understands what it really means. And second is whether they have been community activists. So I would lay a lot of stress on community activism. And then, of course, feedback from the community to see if it's an appropriate candidate. So that is how I would approach a selection of candidates.
Thank you. Just two more questions from me. Mr. Jindal, we'll start with you. Will you be able to make the time commitment the committee requires?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Ms. Lloyd-White?
Yes.
Fantastic. And last question for me, are there any potential conflict of interests that we should be aware of?
No.
No.
Thank you. I will now open it up to questions, and we'll start with the chair of the Education and Culture Committee, Mr. Juando.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to both of you. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Not only willingness, your continued service. Both of you are involved in the county already. We really appreciate that, and thank you, Ms. Lloyd-White, for your continued service on the nominating committee. The question I would ask to both of you is, obviously you are recommending to the governor these appointments to the Board of Trustees. Two, as the president has caught on and says, and we all should say, the best community college in the country. And that is true. It's an important recommendation, right? And we want to keep the Board of Trustees, as you know, sets the votes on setting the fees, hiring decisions, a whole bunch of things that they do. So what is your most important question or area of focus when you're going to be, if you were to be the person asking and interviewing folks that you're going to for the Board of Trustees? What would you ask? What's the most important thing and the important area of focus that you would ask as an interview? And we can start with Ms. Lloyd-White.
Sure. Thank you for that question. In terms of the most important question to me is really knowing the why, why this individual wants to serve, and being able to dissect whether or not it's for, personal gain, or if they are in fact really interested in, serving the college community and the community at large. Being able to gain an understanding of, the motives will really help in terms of, selecting a candidate who is invested in, progressing and advancing the goals of the college.
Thank you. Mr. Jindal?
Aspects of social justice and equity, I would look and see if the candidate is aware of newer technologies such as artificial intelligence and so on, because that is becoming a hot topic, ChatGPT and so on. And the second is whether the candidate has experience of global issues, because Montgomery College attracts students from all over. So I would see if the candidate has worked in other countries or has experience of leading teams there and so on.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And again, thank you both for your willingness to serve. We have two good choices. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Mink.
Thank you, President Glass. Thank you both so much for being here and for your willingness to continue to serve. As Councilmember Juando noted, my question is about the pipeline from MCPS to Montgomery College and then to USG or directly into the workforce. What are your thoughts on that as a priority? What would you want to hear from potential board members? What are your thoughts on how we can or should continue to build that pipeline?
Sure. I think what I would want to hear from potential leaders is how we can continue to strengthen the relationship between the schools, and MCPS, and the college. I think the college already has strong working relationships with all of our schools and key stakeholders in the education sector as well as the private sector, to continue to strengthen that pipeline for students and also for adult education learners as well, to create more economic and educational opportunities.
To increase the number of internships and summer scholarships in the universities, or four-year universities, so that they have role models and experience of seeing actually and experiencing what it means. So I think that is a practical step. And the other steps obviously is increasing the number of visiting professors, lecturers, and so on.
Thank you.
Thank you both. I don't see any other questions or comments from colleagues, but I want to thank both of you for stepping up, for your service, continued service in today's conversation. You are both deeply involved in so many important things here in the county, and this is going to be a tough decision, but we will follow up with you soon, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, we're now on to item number 2, which is legislative day number 7 here at the council, and it's the introduction of bills. We have 4 bills that are being introduced today. The first is Bill 1123, Motor Vehicles and Traffic Control Signals, Devices, and Enforcement Action Plan. The lead sponsor is myself, and co-sponsors are Councilmembers Luedtke, Stewart, Katz, Fani Gonzalez, Vice President Friedson, and Councilmember Jawando. And let me just take a moment to share why I've introduced this piece of legislation. In 2016, the county adopted our Vision Zero principles, which have goals to have 0 pedestrian and cycling deaths by 2030. But with each incident we see, we know that we have more work to do. Last year alone, there were 541 pedestrians and cyclists that were injured on our roadways, and 19 of our neighbors were tragically killed. And here we are at the end of February, just 2 months into the year 2023, and we've already had 2 fatalities and 80 incidents involving pedestrians and bicyclists. Residents of the county's equity emphasis areas are more likely to experience collisions by motor vehicles, as they're more reliant on walking, biking, and public transportation. But this problem is not just about road design. It's also an example of how systemic inequities have manifest into our current life. And so with that, I appreciate the support for the Safe Streets Act of 2023, and there are 4 major priorities within this piece of legislation. The first is prioritizing crossing at intersections by giving pedestrians a head start when they enter the intersection. The second is by prohibiting turn on red in downtown and town center areas, our most heavily pedestrian corridors in Montgomery County. The third is to require the county executive to initiate a plan for automated traffic enforcement. And the fourth would require infrastructure reviews every time there is an incident involving a child walking to or from school, some of the most tragic incidents in our communities. And so I will continue working to make sure that our policies and our engineering prioritize public safety, pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers, making sure that our roads are safe for everybody. And I appreciate my colleagues who have already co-sponsored. And I see Councilmember Malcolm would like to comment.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to co-sponsor this bill as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Albornoz.
Me as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Mink.
I would also like to co-sponsor this bill. And thank you so much for bringing it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Jawando.
I'm already a co-sponsor, but I just wanted to I'm happy to do it again, but I just wanted to say, as chair of the Education and Culture Committee, I just want to thank you for introducing this bill. This is important. As the father of 4 children, MCPS students, no parent should ever have to worry about their child getting to or from school safety. It's one of the worst things, you know, it's one of the biggest fears we all have, and we have to take it so seriously. As you know, I've worked with you and others over the past 4 years to double the funding for Safe Routes to Schools consecutively so that we can have assessments and start making improvements on those routes. This will go even further and make our routes to school even more safe and also the approaching roads. And really appreciate the work of DOT and the advocates who worked with you, MCC, PTA, ACT, and the Montgomery Counties for Families for Safe Streets, and so many more who have advocated for this. So thank you for your work on it, and really happy to co-sponsor.
Thank you. Councilmember Sales.
I'd also like to co-sponsor President Glass. Thank you for introducing this legislation.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of my colleagues. Ms. McCartney-Green, do you have anything else to add?
I do not, Council President.
Thank you very much. There's a public hearing that's scheduled on March 2nd at 1:30, and the T&E Committee work session will take place on March 30th. Yes, March 21st. Thank you. Next is Bill 1223, Police Traffic Stops Limitations. The lead sponsor is Councilmember Jawando.
Thank you, Council President. And co-sponsor, Councilmember Mink. And I want to thank her for co-sponsoring this legislation. As we just all discussed, I think it was unanimous co-sponsorship of the last bill. So I think it's going to pass. We all agree that we must reduce traffic and pedestrian fatalities. But we also all agree that we should reduce systemic disparities in policing. We saw over the last several years, after the murder of George Floyd, a global outcry for change in how we interact with law enforcement and what the rules are to wield the great and significant power that's delegated to them by us, the people. That, unfortunately, at the federal level, yielded no action as far as legislation. I'm very happy to say that at the local level, on the previous council, we did take action, which is really important, as did others across the country, to pass the Law Enforcement Trust and Transparency Act to ensure independent investigations, to pass a use of force bill that raised the standard of when deadly force can be used and added prohibitions against things like chokeholds and shooting and moving vehicles. And we recently passed the Community Informed Police Training Act that will help bring in a new generation of police recruits to keep our community safe and work in partnership. But there's more we need to do. In his State of the Union address earlier this month, President Biden spoke for more than 5 minutes, historic amount of time, about the need for police reform, and gave voice in the presence of the parents of Tyree Nichols, who was murdered in Memphis, to the issues that are seeking to be addressed in this bill. He said, and I quote, "Imagine having to worry whether your son or daughter came home from walking down the street, playing in the park, and just driving a car. Most of us in here have never had to have the talk that brown and black parents have had to have with their children." He went on to say, "Bo, Hunter, Ashley, my children, I've never had to have the talk, had the talk with them. I've never had to tell them if a police officer pulls you over, turn on your interior lights right away. Don't reach for your license. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Imagine having to worry like that every single time your kid got into the car," end quote. He was shedding light on something that many of us in the African American community and other communities of color have had to deal with for generations. The fear, the indignity, the devaluing that comes from disproportionate contact in traffic enforcement. This bill, the Safety in Traffic Equity in Policing, or STEP Act, seeks to shift enforcement for low-level traffic violations to allow our law enforcement the ability to focus on serious crime and serious traffic offenses while addressing disparities that have for too long plagued our community. Just to say a quick word about what the bill does, because there's already been a lot about what it does and doesn't do that hasn't all been correct. It limits traffic stops for low-level, non-moving violations. Any speeding, moving violation is still a primary offense that can be pulled over at any time. It also requires more robust data collection and reporting on traffic stops because we need more data about, for example, why someone was stopped in the first place, which we currently can't track very well. The goal is to promote fairness, to reduce racial disparities, promote safety, and reduce community trauma, to improve community policing in our county, and to further the county's Vision Zero goals. By shifting police out of certain types of traffic enforcement, we can make sure that they focus on the more urgent needs: reckless driving, DUI, speeding. And we can also, at the same time, create better relationships with law enforcement, build better data and reporting on what's happening in police stops, and again, prioritize Vision Zero. As we wrap up Black History Month today, I'm reminded of our theme, Black Resistance. We must challenge ourselves to live up to the ideals of Dr. King, John Lewis, and others, and take a hard and sobering look at the inequities that impact our friends and neighbors, even if they're not ones that impact us. There is no other issue, I think, in the Black community that is experienced different than other communities than policing. And I've said that since we started this council, and we've done work that I'm proud of to make sure we right size and focus and support and improve the training for our law enforcement community. Driving while being Black is not just a saying. It's an experience that many have had, including myself. Black and brown mothers and fathers have had that talk and continue to have it, especially for their sons, and they worry every day when they go out. It cannot be legitimately denied that this is a part of our identity as a country and a county, and that these tragic and sometimes life-ending but certainly dehumanizing stops are a common occurrence that we see play out in communities every day. We must protect drivers and pedestrians, and we all share the same goal of keeping everyone safe. We must also build trust in our community and provide officers with the resources, training, and time to be most effective with how they are conducting their jobs. I invite colleagues to join me in this conversation. This isn't a perfect bill. It does model legislation that's passed in the city of Philadelphia, that's pending in the city of Memphis, that's pending in the state of Washington, in the city of San Francisco, and other places. In the state of Virginia has forms of this already in place. To have a collective invitation to re-envision, continue our re-envisioning what law enforcement's role in traffic enforcement is, and to limit the risks of these dangerous low-level traffic stops. Finally, the data bears this out. It's not perfect, but it bears it out. A report that I requested over 2 years ago that recently had a hearing from our Office of Legislative Oversight confirms that in addition to nationally Black and Latino drivers are disproportionately stopped and searched, we also have the same issue here in Montgomery County. And I quote from the report, while overall numbers of traffic stops declined between FY18 and 22, racial disparities in traffic stops have persisted or worsened over the 5-year period. Black drivers accounted for 30% of the stops, despite being 18% of the population. Latino drivers were 21% of the stops, despite being 19% of the population. White drivers were underrepresented in traffic stops based on their share of the population. In response to this lived reality of Black and brown residents and the overwhelming evidence of racial disparities in traffic enforcement, the STEP Act will address these while keeping our roads safe and make sure that our law enforcement can focus on the most pressing safety-related needs in our county. The bill is limited to initial stops for moving violations. If you an officer observes someone for speeding and observes one of these other stops, they can issue that ticket. It would also limit when a consensual search can be made of a person or a car during a stop, such that a police officer can only conduct that search if they have a reasonable suspicion or probable cause for a criminal offense, which is the Fourth Amendment standard. I've heard from many residents who have talked about being pulled over and sat on the side of the road for an hour or more as their car is searched and nothing is found, and have to get up and deal with that. That should not be happening in our community. During the course of this bill's discussion, we will hear directly from these residents about those experiences and about why it doesn't produce safety. We must grapple with this. It's not an easy conversation, but hopefully it will force us to rethink how we address these low-level traffic offenses. I look forward to the Public Safety Committee's review this summer and the public hearing. We cannot afford to not act. Too many members of our community live in this fear every day, and we must step up and enter the conversation. I appreciate the time, and I hope folks will co-sponsor and join us in this important conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jawando. Councilmember Mink.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to co-sponsor this bill. I support the spirit and motivation of this legislation to provide more equitable and more effective public safety. It's a critically important initiative, and I look forward to a robust public hearing and committee work session to make this the best bill to serve the interests of our community members.
Thank you. Councilmember Sales.
Thank you, Council President Glass. I had a few questions. I don't know if the bill sponsors or if our attorney can answer some of the questions.
Sure.
Okay. So under this bill's context, what would constitute a reasonable suspicion or probable cause to conduct a search? And how can we clarify this policy-wise?
What I will say is that during introduction, typically some of those questions that arise to the public hearing and committee work session is probably the best time for us to look at it, so I can provide the council members as a whole a better analysis and legal opinion. I know through the legislative process, the Office of County Attorney will take a look at the bill, and we'll have varying perspectives. And so before I give a response today, I would like that opportunity to go through the legislative process and do that during the committee work session.
Okay. I know that this...
If I could just add quickly, very quickly.
Sure. Without debating the legislation just now,
debate,
right?
Just to clear, just for Councilmember Sales' question, there's a Fourth Amendment standard on search and seizure. If an officer has probable cause that there's a crime being committed, they can search without consent. Mm-hmm. What this bill addresses is the use of consent search, to asking without that probable cause, can I search your vehicle? And the power and balance there, not feeling like you can say no. And so this prohibits the officer from asking unless they have probable cause, which is the standard for search and seizure.
Okay.
To add to that, Councilmember Jawando, just
thank you.
There's an exception. An exception is consent when it comes to a search of a vehicle. And so an individual could say, yes, your officer, you're allowed to search my vehicle. In this case, this is saying even if there's consent, that's not enough. You need to have at least reasonable suspicion or probable cause that some crime is being conducted at that time frame.
Okay.
So it goes above and beyond just having the minimal consent. In a nutshell.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you. That bill has been introduced. A public hearing is scheduled for June 13th at 1:30, and a Public Safety Committee work session is scheduled for July 17th. Thank you. Next is Expedited Bill 1323, Montgomery County Urban Districts, Friendship Heights Urban District. The lead sponsor is Council Vice President Friedson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Really appreciate it. Colleagues, exciting things are happening in Friendship Heights, and this is a bill to move some of those exciting activities forward. The prior council approved funding, some of which was utilized by the Friendship Heights Alliance as part of the efforts that have been undertaken by DC. And Montgomery County. We have matched what DC has done up to this point to try to revitalize Friendship Heights, to make sure that Friendship Heights is a place that meets the needs of residents and businesses. And this is the first of its kind in the region, where DC and Montgomery County working together in a cross-jurisdictional fashion, something that I hope is a model for moving forward for how our county and our neighbors in the district can work together to take a regional approach and to make sure that Western Avenue and Eastern Avenue do not bisect communities, but can be the tie that binds communities together. Property owners came together to form the Friendship Heights Alliance, and the seed money that was provided by DC and was matched by Montgomery County with the county executive and the prior council, they've gone to work. And this organization now is ready to focus on collaboration and partnerships to strengthen the neighborhood, placemaking efforts to create more people-oriented public spaces, supporting a vibrant business environment, community building opportunities, and creating more venues for arts, culture, and local entrepreneurship. Some of those activities have already begun. The early returns have been very positive, but we need to formalize and institutionalize this. We need to provide a funding mechanism for those efforts, and we need to create a governance structure that makes this work. So this bill would create an urban district for the commercial center of Friendship Heights on the Montgomery County side, and would provide a reliable funding source for the Friendship Heights Alliance. It's essentially a tax on the commercial businesses in that area, which the commercial businesses have advocated in creating. Simultaneously, DC Ward 3 Councilmember Matthew Fruman has introduced legislation to create a BID, a Business Improvement District, on the DC side, which will provide a parallel revenue stream. It was very important, and we worked very hard in creating parity between the funding mechanisms, so it was equitable on both sides and with both jurisdictions. And so merged together, these two funding sources will provide a strong foundation from that will allow the Alliance to begin revitalizing the area. With its central location across DC and Montgomery County, right at a Red Line metro station, Friendship Heights has virtually unlimited potential to be a prime location to live, work, play, and stay. By bringing together businesses and residents on both sides of Western Avenue through the Friendship Heights Alliance, we can create an attractive and cohesive sense of place that serves the day-to-day needs and desires of both residents and businesses. I'm really excited about this effort. I'm really excited about what it means to bring DC and Montgomery County together, to bring residents and businesses together, to create a governance structure and a financial structure that is equitable and fair, and that also is sustainable for the long term. And I hope you'll join me in supporting this exciting effort and revitalizing one of our most important areas with such incredible potential. And with that, I'll yield back to you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Friedson. Not seeing any other comments. Public hearing is scheduled for March 14th at 1:30, and an Economic Development Committee work session will be scheduled at a later date. Thank you. And the last bill for introduction this morning is Bill 1423, Late Night Business Safety Plan. The lead sponsor is the Council President at the request of the County Executive. Ms. Wellens, would you like to provide any update or information about the legislation?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. This legislation, the purpose of it is, of course, to enhance public safety for late night businesses operating in the county. The bill would allow the Chief of Police to designate certain priority geographic areas in the county based upon their crime statistics, and then the chief would be able to provide that if a business operating within that priority area wants to operate late night, they would be required to develop a safety plan. They would work with the police department to get that safety plan approved, and that would allow them to continue to operate at night. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Stewart has a comment.
Great. Thank you. I just want to thank the county exec for sending this to us. I know many of us have been having conversations on ensuring that our communities continue to be places where young people, children, families, young adults, and older folks feel safe and enjoy all we have in our county. And to do this, we all need to be working together, our residents, our businesses, and our government. And, you know, we've talked about how we need to solve crimes in the short term and prevent them in the long term. This body has talked about gun safety laws, increasing mental health services, and continuing and expanding our programs for young people. And there's so much more we need to be doing. Specifically, I appreciate the bill the county executive has sent over. I think it is a great start to look at those areas that we do have in our community that have late night businesses, ones that we're glad we have those businesses here, but we also understand that some of the areas have been experiencing high calls for service. And so in the spirit of wanting to work together, I will be offering amendments to this bill, specifically providing a provision to create grants to help small businesses meet the safety requirements, in addition to those businesses who may have been harmed due to the effects of crime in the area. Because I believe we need to be supporting our small businesses, making sure they thrive as we work to make sure our communities are safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Jawando.
Thank you. I also want to appreciate the county executive sending this over and for his team with the work. I've been able to give comment on this bill before he sent it over, and as the previous discussion, and Councilmember Stewart, I think, said this very well, public safety involves all of us, including our business community. I remember when Council President Glass and I were sitting on the Nighttime Economy Task Force, a dozen years or so ago, talking about how we wanted to have nighttime economy, and now we do, and it's a good thing. And we have 4 of the top 10 most diverse cities in the country. Germantown is number 1. Councilmember Balcom, we know, and but we're happy that this is there because it provides an outlet for all of our residents. But it becomes responsibility to, as we are changing, to keep up with the times. And I was happy to convene our business community with law enforcement about a year and a half ago for the first time in downtown Silver Spring. They hadn't been talking, and this has come, a lot of good work has come out of that. They've been collaborating to have extra law enforcement off hours, and have been talking about people who, the very small number of people who might want to come into a community and create trouble, and they communicate about that so that they can not allow these people in establishments. So this kind of community safety in partnership with law enforcement is important. This will formalize that process and make it countywide so that everyone has to have a plan and think about these things. I do think there can be opportunities, like we have done with the camera bill, to provide a grant program to help some of these businesses, but really appreciate this moving forward. I think it's constructive and it's a good model. So I'm really happy that we are pushing it forward. Thank you.
I appreciate Councilmember Jawando reminding everybody that we used to be young when we were on the Nighttime Economy Task Force, so thank you for that. Councilmember Balcom.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I think this is great. I look forward to hearing more about it. And thank you to Councilmember Stewart to mention grants for small businesses. I think that's really important. The business community's been active and involved in this from the very beginning. I would ask the chair of the Economic Development Committee and with the chair of the Public Safety Committee to consider a joint work session on this, because I think it really has been a cooperative effort between our law enforcement and our business community, so I think that would be appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez.
I was going to say exactly that. But this is about quality of life. I have been canvassing businesses in my district for the past few weeks, and the number one issue business owners are saying it's public safety, and it shouldn't be this way. So I look forward to that joint session with my friend Councilmember Katz, and I look forward and I appreciate our county executive for moving this forward and protecting our businesses in our communities, because we want them to party hard in Montgomery County and feel safe while they're doing that. We want our young kids, high schoolers, to get jobs in downtown Wheaton, downtown Silver Spring, and feel safe. It's about that, and we need to take every single opportunity that we have to ensure that they can do so. And the grants are crucial. So looking forward to that conversation. Thank you for putting this forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was on that task force too back when we were bigger consumers of the nighttime economy than we are now. But so just I very much associate the comments of my colleagues. This is a huge issue that has been presented to us, not just from the business community, but by residents as well. And as we door knocked, all of us over the last year and a half, it was of grave concern to a number of residents. And it's I appreciate the recommendation to have a joint committee session on this. I may pop into that one as a guest, and really thank everybody for working collaboratively to move us forward.
Thank you. Chair of the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Katz.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you probably know, I wasn't old enough to be on that. So I certainly will go back and read the report.
Played.
Look at that face. I really shouldn't have started. But I certainly agree with the suggestion that we have a joint committee meeting, and I also believe that it is extremely necessary to keep our business community always involved as best we can. I mean, many times we take it for granted that they're following us, but they're doing other things just like many other residents are. So let's work this one through, and we have the opportunity to get this one right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Sales.
Thank you, President Glass. I too want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues and thank the county executive for looking into this. We know the nighttime economy was struggling, and it's we want to be supportive, and so I look forward to this discussion. Is this a county-wide bill and not just for? Okay. Thank you. That was my only question.
Thank you. And I'll just add that I appreciate the county executive introducing this and the collaboration. I know a number of us had conversations along the way. It has been a long time coming, but as has been noted by colleagues, nearly a decade ago when we worked to improve the nightlife and quite frankly to create nightlife here, that was the impetus, and the businesses were asking for support, and young people were wanting it. And so now it's important that we take a look at the regulations that were put in place and how we can fine-tune them as we are a decade older. And I think that's really what this is about. Some have aged better than others, but here we are. So I was referring to Councilmember Katz, who has not aged at all in this decade. So that's great. So a public hearing will be scheduled for March 14th, and a Public Safety and Economic Development Committee will be scheduled for a later date. Use presidential prerogative in that regard. And so with that, we have 4 bills that have just been introduced. Thank you, colleagues. And now we are going to go to call for bills for final reading. Expedited Bill 232, Board of Investment Trustees Membership Amendments. The GO Committee recommends enactment. I'll turn it over to the GO Chair.
Thank you. I'm pleased to report that Government Operations and Fiscal Policy met and discussed this item on February 19th. This bill would modify the membership of the Board of Investment Trustees by removing the Director of Human Resources and replacing the ex officio member with the Chief Labor Relations Officer. This bill changes the board to reflect members whose duties and responsibilities are aligned with fulfilling the purpose of the board. The Government Operations Committee voted 3-0 to recommend this bill for action, and I don't know if my colleagues on the committee have anything else to add. No, that's it. I yield back my time.
Great. Ms. McCartney-Green?
Nothing else to add, Council President.
Okay. Well, the GO Committee recommends enactment, and this is a roll call vote.
Just for the record, the bill number is 2-23, not 32.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lukey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lukey votes yes. Councilmember Mink?
Yes.
Councilmember Mink votes yes. Councilmember Sales?
Yes.
Councilmember Sales votes yes. Councilmember Albornoz?
Yes.
Councilmember Albornoz votes yes. Councilmember Jawando?
Yes.
Councilmember Jawando votes yes. Councilmember Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Katz votes yes. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart votes yes. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez votes yes. Councilmember Balcom?
Yes.
Councilmember Balcom votes yes. Councilmember Friedson?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedson votes yes. Councilmember Glass?
Yes.
Councilmember President Glass votes yes.
Very good. That is unanimous. Thank you. And now we're going to move on to the consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Moved by Councilmember Jawando, seconded by Councilmember Luedke. All those in favor, raise your hand. That is unanimous. I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to make a comment about the consent calendar and bring attention to item D, which is a resolution calling on Governor Moore and the General Assembly to allocate $175 million in the FY24 budget to help an estimated 17,000 Maryland families avoid eviction. I want to thank Council Members Fani Gonzalez, Stewart, Albernaz, Katz, Jawando, Sales, and Vice President Friedson for co-sponsoring this resolution. We know that there are over 130 households in Montgomery County that struggle to make rent every month, and these struggles come because of many, many different reasons. Loss of a job, emergency medical bills, a car accident, funeral expenses, and the list goes on and on. We also know that the state of Maryland has an estimated $5 billion surplus in this year's budget, and allocating $175 million for eviction support will help thousands of Maryland families stay in their homes. To protect residents who are at risk of losing their homes or were at risk of losing their homes, early in 2020, I led the county's efforts to provide rental assistance during COVID. And we secured $2 million that turned into $100 million just for efforts here in Montgomery County. And that helped prevent more than 12,000 individuals and families from being evicted during the worst pandemic in a century. And we have an obligation to help protect residents from evictions in many cases and becoming homeless. And I look forward to working with my colleagues and Governor Wes Moore and the General Assembly on this important issue. Councilmember Mink.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a critically important issue. It's an urgent issue. We are in the midst of an ongoing eviction crisis. We need to do more, of course, on the local side to slow that down and to prevent so many of our families from facing displacement. This is a piece of stymieing that trend. So I would like to sign on as a co-sponsor.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Not seeing any other comments, I just want to announce that there will be a lunch meeting on the 4th floor Capitol Crescent Trail Conference Room. The meeting will be with members of the council and the directors of the regional service centers for updates in their areas across Montgomery County. And with that, we are in recess. Thank you all.